Our anti-racism strategy commits us to addressing and eradicating racism on our campuses. This means we as a university are taking bold and consistent action against racial hatred, bias and systemic racism. It also means supporting, encouraging and empowering staff and students to recognise racism in all its forms and to actively reject it and challenge it. You're now going to hear the views of some of our staff and students on the anti-racism strategy. They will talk about the strategy's main objectives, such as attracting, nurturing and appointing talent, decolonising the curriculum and closing the awarding gap, and crucially about what the strategy means to them.
Being an international student here in Aberdeen, I got a bit of a cultural shock at the beginning, but then I started realizing that there are some attitudes or some situations that are just not right. And then it took me some years even to realize how this is all connected to more like systematic, institutionalized racism. So it was only when I started being involved with student groups that I kind of was able to put pieces together and understand how this is systematic, and I started getting involved in changing it.
Unfortunately for me, it was experiencing racism in education and later in university. I was lucky enough to find a group of students like-minded who were interested in decolonizing and anti-racism, and that's where it started for me.
But generally, the university is a great place to work, and I wanted ethnic minority staff to basically, interact and discuss about these matters and help them integrate within the university community.
I wanted to be involved with the anti-racism strategy because equality is something that is really important to me, and working against racism in particular is something that I think we all have a responsibility to work towards.
At my previous institution, I was also leading the race equality charter of the institute. So when I moved to University of Aberdeen, it was quite natural and organic kind of process for me to work on race inequality, given my research and also previous interests.
If we have a range of opportunities for staff and students to build their knowledge and consciousness of anti-racism, I would say that those will be excellent additions.
In terms of actions towards addressing racism, it would be unfair to put the burden on ethnic minority staff to address racism. So allyship and collective action is key towards making the strategy a success.
Traditionally, it was thought that it was racialized people, the ones that should be in charge of changing racism, or it was women who should be in charge of changing sexism. But we know better now, and we know this has to be like everyone's effort and a collective effort to actually bring change.
I think there is still a lot of work that needs doing. We are moving in the right direction. We are doing lots of work to kind of make it accountable and also measure various aspects of progress as well.
So our racialized students and staff, they have worked so hard on this for years and years, and now that we're at this point is truly amazing, and it is really the responsibility of white students and staff to join us on this journey and make sure that our work was not in vain and we can move forward together as a community, but keeping in mind that our experiences are really at the core of the strategy.
In a similar way, we need to also be more inclusive to different groups, including Black, Asian, minority ethnic groups, that there could be cultural differences in the interview process and cultural differences in the way questions are answered as well. So we need to consider various kind of inequalities in that hiring process as well.
So by doing that work, our university recognizes that we do not have equal opportunities when we enter this university, and it really focuses on racial equity. So I think it will have great impact, and it will make sure that the university also reflects on its own work, its own processes and structural challenges. So I think it will have great impact.
If staff and students know that they have confidential platforms to report incidences or concerns that they have, I think it would encourage them to share more. So I'm happy that we have the opportunities to facilitate confidential platforms to report racism.
If we continuously promote our reporting structures and continuously reflect on them and continuously promote it to our staff and students, it might help us to make our university more transparent.
To me, the anti-racism strategy means that our university is recognizing the oppressive structures that racializes and harm us really negatively. It also means that we finally have something on black and white, something that we can return to that's on paper and keep the university accountable for.
The anti-racism strategy tells me that the university is willing to take a bold position on anti-racism.
It also means that university signals very strongly to students and staff that we don't accept any kind of racist events, actions, discussions, any other direct or indirect form of racism.
Ultimately, the anti-racism strategy is important because it gives us all the responsibility to work together as a community to positively change our community as we all work towards ending racism.
It means that we'll be able to create a safer environment for future students.
Our anti-racism strategy commits us to creating safe working and learning environments and to fostering a true sense of belonging for our staff and students. All members of the University of Aberdeen community have a role to play in tackling racism and implementing our anti-racism strategy. Please do read the strategy, get involved, and think about what you can do to help us create an anti-racist university. Whether you're a staff member, student, partner, or visitor to the university, please remember any form of racism on our campuses is unacceptable. And there are a range of resources you can access to report an incident or seek support. Thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to continuing our critical conversations on race with students, staff, and our wider community.